We are investigating Panorama's investigation of Panorama.
Yeah, man.
That's a difficult sentence on so many levels.
Lots of mirrors, isn't it? Yeah.
What do you think? Do you want to pay £160 a year to this organisation? Give us a call.
Yeah.
The BBC licence fee is £160 a year, and these are the kind of techniques it uses. Not only did it know what Martin Bashir did, it tried to cover it up for 25 long years, and the truth will out, and the truth has come out. How disgusted are you by that? Do you think this organisation has any right for us to trust it anymore? Do you want to give them 160 quid a year? Are they worth it? 0344 499 1000, or you can tweet us at Talk Radio or text us, talk in your message to 87222. And don't forget, you can watch me and Ash live on YouTube and Twitter. Going to bring in right now another diligent journalist, veteran media correspondent Nigel Pauley, who's been watching Panorama for us as well. Good evening, Nigel.
Morning, evening.
You do that every time.
Oh no, it's my trademark.
It's his thing, isn't it? It's his thing, yeah.
All right, Nigel. Now that we've established the right time of day, you've just watched Panorama. Charlie said that it just does not pull any punches. Will be almost as hurtful, or maybe not as hurtful, as Lord Dyson's 127-page report into Bashir's underhand techniques. Your verdict?
It was damning and eviscerating. It shows that the BBC is institutionally inept and also self-serving. The shocking nature of this is, if this was a one of them, Lord Burt, actually used the phrase that there was one rogue reporter in Panorama. Well, there may have been. We've heard that phrase before to do with tabloid newspapers who were hammered for various things that some reporters were doing. Now, the fact is that there wasn't just one rogue reporter. There were a few rogue executives who were covered this up.
Rogue management.
Yeah. Because, let's face it, they knew the story and they covered up for Bashir. Not only did they go on to have glittering careers and still are fated, Bashir went on to win awards and to learn jobs. And bizarrely, even though this was in the files, somehow he went back a few years ago to become head of religion. This is the man who said was dishonest and devious, according to Lord Dyson. Now, the BBC...
I wonder what God made of that.
The BBC... Well, I hope he didn't stay still, because you never know. The BBC basically swept this under the carpet, and Lord Dyson has hoovered it up today and spat it out in all its glory. And in actual fact, Panorama,
sorry to interrupt, Nigel, but does John Ware's investigation point the finger at the future Director General Tony Hall's many mistakes in this saga?
I think the BBC is good at many things. One of the good things that the BBC is very good at is covering up their own bottoms. And bottoms were very heavily covered up 25 years ago. And
they're exposed now, though, aren't they?
But they are. But hey,
but they're being smacked.
But yes, but it's 25. He's had a glittering career at the BBC. Yeah. He has been Director General. He has moved on to other things. This is a blip for him. Embarrassing. Now, me and Charlie and yourself, Kevin. I'm not sure about Ash, but we're old enough to remember the Savile cover-up, where the BBC said this would never happen again, that things would change, and a bit like we hear from police forces. A bit like we hear from health authorities in the court, sadly, they do happen again. This is equally as shocking as the
I agree with you. I think this is worse for the BBC.
This is worse because this has...
nobody in America or New Zealand or Australia would have heard of Jimmy Savile. They probably haven't to this day, but they've heard of Princess Diana and all all their TV channels.
And this is about journalism specifically as well.
Do you think, Nigel, let me ask you this, do you think that the BBC, given Tony Hall's disastrous mistake in exonerating Martin Bashir.
Was it a mistake?
It was a mistaken decision.
It was a mistake. Yeah.
A mistake. Do you think that the BBC years later should have given a man who made that decision the job of Director General, ironically, to sort out the Jimmy Savile scandal? It's level upon level of disaster for the BBC, isn't it?
It is. As I said, they were institutionally inept and self-serving, and this is just so self-serving. He he was deemed as the right sort to run the BBC. Me, you, and Charlie and Ash would not be the right sort to run the BBC. He was,
we should.
despite this. We should.
They don't even reply to my applications.
But this is the shocking thing is that all of us have been journalists who lived through the hassle that tabloid journalists had, through a small number of people. Hundreds, if not thousands, of good journalists' names were tarnished. We had to explain what we did, and we got attacked for what had happened. Now, there are some many hundreds, if not thousands, of very good BBC journalists, some putting themselves at risk in war zones, some reporting locally. However, this report here damages them and their reputation.
It certainly does. Only recently there was a poll, and it transpired that 94% of long-suffering Brits do not trust the BBC to be unbiased. That only 6% trust the BBC's news service. So they're in enough trouble anyway. And this is to do with their hopelessness on Brexit, their hopeless bias. Now we've got this. They can't recover from this, can they?
No, this is BBC staff can never be wrong, and they're always on. They always feel, and that is like your grades at that. And basically, the situation is there is a culture at the BBC that they are on the side of right, that they are reporting they can never be wrong.
Always polishing their own halos, aren't
they? Well, that's gone now, isn't it?
Their halos are finished. Charlie, can I just bring you in for a second? What do you think that will be the feeling at the Palace about these revelations today?
Well, I do know that letters have gone to William, Harry and Charles, obviously very apologetic letters, but I mean, it's 25 years too late, but it's still something. I think the Palace, I was listening to Patrick Jeffson on that Panorama programme, and the thing about the interview is it destroyed really the cooperation between Buckingham Palace and the Princess's office. And Lord Spencer, Charles Spencer, her brother, he said that he is convinced that this interview ultimately led to the events which happened in Paris in 1997, because the whole structure
set off a chain of events.
She got rid of her security.
It set off a whole chain of events, but Diana herself decided that she didn't want to have her bodyguards because she didn't trust them, and she wanted to live, what she thought was a normal life. Impossible. But nobody tried to persuade her to keep the bodyguards. If she'd kept the bodyguard, maybe she wouldn't have got into that car that night. It's all these unknowns.
And it's Nigel.
It's a shocking.
Can the BBC licence fees survive after this? I think it's got to be in serious trouble. I mean, this organisation, this rather underhand organisation, we now feel, has to fend for itself from now on, doesn't it?
It does. It's in trouble. And also, I think 25 years on, we can look that Princess Diana had, I think, mental health issues. I think she was a vulnerable person this time.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And we saw what happened with Harry and his feeling with the interview that he gave on ITV, ironically. But you can see that I think the way that a vulnerable woman was manipulated by someone from within the BBC, that reflects badly. And that's going to take a long time for the BBC to get over. I think the licence fee is in danger. It's
a dead licence fee walking.
There is a rolling effect, like a snowball, and this is just one more issue.
I think this is a massive moment for the BBC, as it has been described. This is the BBC's phone hacking moment, and I don't think it's going to recover. Charlie Ray, some former royal editor, Nigel Pauley, excellent media correspondent. Thank you both so much for your time. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan. He's Ash. This is Talk Radio.